So this is my article abstract video on hot and cold. I did mine on can cold water immersion enhance recovery in elite Olympic weightlifters. So a little bit of background. Cold water immersion has definitely been investigated in the past. One of the main studies is done on delayed onset muscular soreness, and basically seeing is it going to help improve the DOMS. Another study I found was they said that it could be effective for weight-bearing sports versus non-weight-bearing sports. Another study I found is it also can be effective on the neuromuscular coordination of an athlete, and it can improve. So basically, the purpose of the study is can cold water immersion enhance recovery? So the methods. So they did a randomized crossover design, which means that they took the 7 subjects they had, they broke them into 2 groups. One was the control, one was the trial. After 4 days of the first trial, they would then take a 10-day recovery period and then do the opposite of what they were doing in the first trial. So if they were doing the passive recovery, they would then switch to the cold water immersion trial. And so then they would basically do the same kind of setup. All 7 subjects would do 2 workouts on the first day, 1 on the second, and then 2 more on the 4th day. Before every weight training, they would do their ARSS, which is one of the testing measures. They would also do their barbell snatch, and then they would do their laboratory diagnostics. Every subject did a high-intensity weight training specific to their protocol, so their workouts weren't exactly the same. However, they did have the same volume and intensity throughout the entire workout. The subjects were all injury-free, and their testing measures were laboratory diagnostics, a barbell snatch, which is a competitive exercise, and then the ARSS, which is the acute recovery stress scale. So these subjects all, even though all their exercises were different, they did the same amount of reps and sets, and they would do 18 to 25 different exercises with 3 to 5 sets, depending on, 3 to 5 reps at their 85 to 90% max. Then from there, they would do testing. So the results showed that cold water immersion does not improve recovery for elite athletes. So for their barbell snatch, which is one of the testing measures, it showed that it didn't significantly get better. For some subjects, it actually got worse. For the subjective testing, which is the acute recovery stress scale, the cold water immersion didn't change the athlete's perception on recovery. For a few, it had a negative effect, and I think that strains from the type of study they did. The laboratory diagnostics showed that there's an increase in creatine kinase and then a decrease in cortisol. So in conclusion, the study was not significant based on their values, and their cold water immersion, according to the author, cold water immersion is best advised as a case-by-case study. So basically, if the subject enjoys it, then they should do it. But if they don't, and it's almost like a hassle, then they shouldn't do it, because then they're going to have negative effects. Some critiques I had for the article was definitely more subjects. I know it was targeting elite Olympic athletes, but I believe you could definitely broaden that scale. All Olympic athletes, I'm sure, lift weights, so there's definitely something to do is open it up to more than just weight training specifically. I also think the randomized crossover design can have an effect on the surveys, because the subjects may see hey, so-and-so didn't like, cold water immersion, and then I'm going to have to do it next week, and then in their head they could think, I'm not going to like it, even though they haven't necessarily tried it. The weight training protocol, I think, even though they're trying to stick to their usual routine, I think being a little more structured with it might change some numbers as well. I also think for future studies, a broader pool of individuals, like I spoke about up in my critiques, as well as